Hey guys, this is Payesh from Uno.com, and Samsung's new foldable smartphones have arrived in India. The Galaxy Z Fold 3, which is an exciting smartphone with all of its new upgrades. And there's also the Galaxy Z Flip 3, which is packed with all of these cool new upgrades. Now, both of these are interesting foldable smartphones, but let me get straight to the point. I have made the switch to the Galaxy Z Flip 3. Let me tell you why. See, there are actually two reasons why I switched to this phone. First up, the Z Flip 3 has launched in India at Rs 84,999, and it brings quite a few important upgrades over the original Galaxy Z Flip, which was, if you remember, initially launched at 1,09,999 rupees. So you know what this means, right? This means that Samsung is bringing its foldable smartphones to the mainstream. I mean, at 85K, I can see a lot of people getting interested in this foldable smartphone, especially with all the specs and features that it packs. And yes, I'm one of those people who is interested. Now, the second reason why I've switched to the Galaxy Z Flip 3 is because I've never really used a foldable phone. I mean, I've tried out foldable phones in the past, but putting in my SIM card, using it as my daily driver, that's something I'm doing for the first time with the Z Flip 3. So the question is, how has my experience been with my first ever foldable smartphone? Well, I'd say my experience has been interesting. Now, let me make it clear that you guys probably know all about the specs of the Z Flip 3. It's got some really good upgrades. The cover screen is bigger. There's a 120Hz AMOLED panel now. Snapdragon 888 with 5G powers the new Flip even in India. As for the cameras and the battery, they remain the same as the Z Flip, although the Z Flip 3 does not come with a charger in the box and it supports only 15-watt fast charging. Anyway, you guys know all of the specs, but I want to talk about my foldable smartphone experience here because I know a lot of you guys have these simple yet practical questions around foldable smartphones before you make the switch from usual phones to foldable phones. Now, the biggest question mark is around the durability of these phones. Now, according to Samsung, the Z Flip 3 has what it calls armor aluminum on the frame and the hinge, making it a lot stronger. The flexible display is also said to be 80% more durable with a new pre-installed screen protector that's harder. Apart from that, the exterior has Gorilla Glass Victus, and this whole design is now IPX8 rated, which means it can survive immersion at a maximum depth of 1.5 meters for up to 30 minutes. Now, that's awesome because this phone is water resistant, but do note it's IPX8, not IP68, so it's not dust resistant. Look, when I started using the Z Flip 3, I was a little careful around it, especially because you get this prompt while setting up the phone. It's like the do's and don'ts with the Flip, and yeah, it makes you cautious. So yeah, I did take note of these points, but apart from these points, I've gotten more casual with the phone, especially because it seems very well built. There's no weird creaks or anything when I open up the Flip or even close it, and yeah, this whole design just feels more solid. Now, one thing is I was able to, flip the phone with just one hand with some difficulty, as you can see. But yeah, if you have bigger hands, you might be able to do it, but if you have smaller hands, you will need to use two hands. Anyway, this whole Flip form factor brings some interesting use cases, and I know there's a question around them being a little gimmicky, but I personally found them useful. So I love the fact that I can just fold the screen halfway, place it on a surface, and do things like making video calls. Video calls is one thing I've loved doing on the Galaxy Z Flip 3. I mean, I can just place it like this and just talk without worrying about holding the phone in my hands all the time. It's also super handy for photos and videos. First up, it's very useful when I'm shooting reels for our Instagram page and also stories, because most of our Instagram stories is me holding one phone to shoot and holding another phone or other gadget in my other hand to show off. The Flip 3 solves that problem for me, especially because I can just set the phone like a tripod. Now, apart from this, when you have the phone halfway open, flex mode gets active, which means some Samsung apps like the camera app or the gallery app get divided into two for better usage. Also, one cool thing is I can just flip the phone open to take calls like this and even end calls like this. Yeah, that's cool. As for using the Flip 3 as a regular full-fledged smartphone, it's quite usual, which is actually a good thing. Well, first off, you get an AMOLED panel that's brighter than the last gen. It's also way more smooth thanks to the higher refresh rate. And like any other Samsung AMOLED, it looks stunning. It's also a tall 20:9 screen, which is not a problem, but I did notice some games not stretching out to cover the full screen by default. As you can see, BGMI works like this on the Flip 3 by default, like I said, but the full screen stretch option fixes this, so it's not an issue. However, the tall nature of this phone means that the power button is placed higher and the volume rocker even above it, so accessing them hasn't been very easy, but hopefully I'll get used to it. Now, I know you're wondering, yes, you can still feel the crease in the middle of the screen. It's also visible at angles, but it does not affect the overall usability of this phone, so I'm honestly pretty okay with it. As when the Flip 3 is folded like this, well, first of all, it becomes so easy to carry. I mean, this goes into all sorts of different pockets without any problems. In fact, I'm always worried when I'm using a big phone because I have this fear of the phone falling off from my pocket. Well, I was more assured with the Flip 3 because it's small and nice. Now, one thing to note is that in this mode, the phone is double its thickness, but I don't think you'll have issues putting it in your pockets unless you have, super tight jeans on. So yeah, that's something to note. In this mode, you can also use this secondary cover display, which is more useful now. Well, it's got a bigger screen and you get these different widgets. There's the clock where you can set different styles. And there's a music control widget, weather, alarm, timer. You also get detailed notifications here, not just an icon, which is good. Now, these notifications are not actionable, but most of the time I open up my phone to check the notifications. So I just check the cover display on the Flip 3 for that now. And by the way, you can also use the cover screen to take selfies from the main camera. It's cool, but I would have liked an easier way to access the cameras from the cover screen than going to the camera app and then hitting this icon to use it. Look, overall, if you ask my opinion about using the Galaxy Z Flip 3 as my daily driver, I would say it's a pretty good experience. I mean, I've only switched to this phone a couple of days back, but I plan on using it for a long period to get a good idea about foldable smartphones. So far, I'll just put it this way. This flip foldable form factor makes the Z Flip 3 an exciting smartphone to use. You know what? It hits me with a lot of nostalgia of flip phones. It's just so much fun to fold and unfold. It does not seem fragile, which was my biggest concern. And it's useful for people like me who shoot a lot of videos on their phone. Now, all that is great. Plus, I switched to the Galaxy Z Flip 3 because all of the other basics of this phone seem good. Well, the display looks pretty awesome. The performance so far has been top notch. The cameras aren't the best, but they seem good enough. The battery life is something I am concerned with, but I have gotten around 5 hours of screen on time, so it's decentish. Now, these are obviously aspects that deserve a more long-term testing, and I'll be doing just that. But it's clear that Samsung wants to bring foldables to the mainstream with the Galaxy Z Flip 3, and I think the company has succeeded on that front. It's definitely gotten the attention of everyone wanting to buy a premium flagship smartphone. Well, I'm enjoying using the Galaxy Z Flip 3 as my daily driver, but yeah, this is not a review, this was more of my experience. So if you have any questions around the Z Flip 3, make sure to comment down below. Also give this video a like, make sure to share it, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing tech videos. Well, that's me signing off. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.